Today we're doing a recap over the weekend. So this weekend I went to a real estate event in Chase. Shout out to Chase and shout out to RB for hosting an event. So this event was a real estate event talking about first home buyers purchasing multi-family properties and going through the process with these banks. It was a good event. It was a great event. I got to network, speak to some people. I scheduled I guess a background check, see what I'm qualified for on Tuesday. They gave me some great information for that. And the funny part is, I told them I owe something in Chase. She said, "Don't worry about it. We'll take care of that." So Tuesday I'll definitely be going to see what I get approved for, what type of documents I definitely need. Shout out to Chase. They give out these bags. I ain't really open mine. I ain't really go through it. But let's see. They gave us some fan. It wasn't hot in there though. Learn more about what's possible. Shout out to Chase. We don't go through that. They give us a book, take notes. See, but I wasn't really taking notes because I was recording. RB the realtor. Shout out to RB the realtor. Just going through the bag. There's another little notebook, pen. So definitely shout out. See, I took this. I took another book because I thought I was gonna take notes. I said I need a fresh one though. Shout out to Chase. So that's what they gave me. That was the gift in the Chase bag. Shout out to Chase. So I think it was like 5 speakers. And like I said, I ain't really take notes because I was recording. So let's go over the notes together. We both in the real estate event right now. Shout out to RB and shout out to Chase. Let's pull this up.
Tax redemption deeds.
So this is the first speaker. I don't know his name. I don't know his name, but let's see what he's talking about.
Adjudicated properties, all sorts of different sales. Well, in Arkansas, we found this owner of a 12-unit apartment complex. They were back in their taxes.
Let's take notes now. Y'all. I'm taking notes with y'all.
They owed a lot of money. All right, they owed a lot of money and they couldn't pay it. So what we did was we approached these property owners and we negotiated with them. We got a 12-unit apartment complex for $80,000. $80,000. Now get this. I'd be lying to you if I told you I used my own money to get it. I did not.
How much did they owe in taxes?
They owe like $50,000.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. So what we did was we got this apartment complex, and now we're not even running it. We're still just getting paid.
That was a good question to ask. How much they owe in taxes? Okay, so he purchased a condo or complex for $80K in Arkansas.
from it monthly, right? We have property managers. So using the tax sale, we went and we were able to negotiate with these property owners. I didn't even have to go to auction, right? A lot of people think you have to go to auction to win tax sale property. We don't do that, right? We really don't. Auction is last case scenario. So negotiate with the property owners, and voila, 12-unit apartment complex. Now, I also have a few duplexes, also have a few single families all over the place, right? All over the place. I have 25 properties in Texas right now. Okay, 25 properties in Texas using that method. So I want y'all to really pay attention. So lead generation, you're gonna need a team and you're gonna need to generate leads.
25 properties in Texas. When I was doing backstory, I did the real estate test. I failed twice. It's a lot of knowledge and it's a lot of knowledge that you gotta consume. And me working and doing that, like, yeah, I failed. I wish I could bring up the scores too. I looked on the website to see if I could bring up my old scores to show y'all what I had. But yeah, I failed twice. So now when I was doing the real estate test, I was dabbing into wholesaling, reading the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I got into that. I got into wholesaling. Texas was a great market. And when he's saying generate leads, what he mean is getting anybody that's trying to sell a property under stress. It could be divorce or anything like that. You want to gather all that information up. Like some people used to have like when the guy told me like 100 leads. So I was grabbing, and you gotta pay for leads sometimes. Because if you're not driving for dollars, or what's the other one? If you're not driving for dollars, or what's this? Word of mouth. You're not hearing like word of mouth, like, oh, somebody just died in this apartment. I mean, this building. This house, this condo. They selling it. It's not word of mouth. It's driving for dollars or on these websites. And on these websites, you have to pay for leads. So I'll get like 50 leads, break them down, because then you got to break them down because remember, it's coming from a website. You don't know if the contact number is still irrelevant. You don't know if anything changed. So those was the leads. You want to break those down, and then you start calling them and texting them, see if they're willing to sell.
All right, once you generate those leads, then we have to know things like underwriting, and this is my main talking point today. So write it down if you have to. We look for things such as market capitalization rate.
Underwriting. So we're gonna go, like I said, I signed into the website. So look, I don't know if I remove this, would it? Oh no, okay. So we don't go here, and he said underwriting, right? Go to you, and we go right here, underwriting. All right. So now we on the same
Market
page.
cap, purchase cap, or purchase capitalization rate. And last but not least, cash on cash return. If you don't
So market cap, purchase cap, and cash on cash returns.
remember anything from today, I want you to have everybody's phone number in here and how to access them, and you better remember cash on cash return. All right? I'm gonna give you the formula right now for cash on cash return. That is.
I'm sorry, Joe, not to interrupt you, but you're dropping some really great knowledge, and I want everyone to reach into their Chase bag, pull out their Chase notebook and their Chase pen, and make sure you write it. Hold on, Chase, hold on. Okay? I want you to write it down because Joseph is giving you some really insightful information.
Awesome. So cash on cash return, y'all, this is a number, it's basically ROI, return on investment. Cash on return tells us how much money we are going to make annually on the money we invested. All right, if I invested 100K into a property and my cash on cash return is 20%, then how much money am I going to make annually? $20,000 annually. Okay, that's what cash on cash return is. So right now, COC is the formula for COC, cash on cash return, is NOI divided by acquisition cost.
NOI and what? AVC?
Net operating income divided by acquisition cost. So what is your net operating income, y'all? This is an annual number. This is your net cash flow, right? So if your asset is going to make you $100,000 a year, but your expenses are $20K a year, your net operating income is $80,000. Okay, so $80,000 divided by the amount of money that you had to put in to buy this property. That's your acquisition cost. If your down payment is $20K, but you need to put in another $10,000 in rehab, your acquisition cost is $30K. All right, if you only have to pay $50K to get an asset, then your acquisition cost is $50K. All right, so net operating income. Y'all got the formula?
Yeah.
NOI divided by acquisition cost. I want y'all to really remember that and tune in. All right, I'm sending y'all the ebook. Make sure y'all text that number. It's Tax Debo CEO.
You did not send that ebook though.
Perfect. So that's mainly all I want to talk about today is the tax sale. Everybody in here, you go to your county clerk of court. I don't care what state it is. Go to your county clerk of court, and you got to look for anything that has to do with tax sale, tax liens, tax deeds, tax redemption deeds, tax delinquency. If you can't find it, there's a contact us section. Just call them up. Hey, what happens when investors don't pay their property taxes? Can I get these properties?
Okay. First speaker. Cash on cash returns. Your local county clerk. Funny thing, I went to my local county clerk to do that. To do exactly what he was talking about. I actually called, matter of fact. I actually called and went down there, and they gave me like the runaround. Like the whole runaround. But, it's always good to try again. Nothing wrong with that. But so cash on cash returns, he said NOI divided by AVC. AVC is the put down cost. And then NOI is the net operating income.
What are you looking for in a multifamily?
So y'all, it's all about the money, right? It's all about the money. So that's what I care about, the cash flow. I need to know what the average rents are in this area, how much it's gonna cost me to rehab it, but ultimately, how much money can I make off of this property? Okay, if I'm gonna put my money in, that cash on cash return formula that I just gave y'all, that's one of my main things. Okay, that's one of my main things. How much money can I make off of this? So average rents is gonna be big. Location is everything when it comes to real estate. You don't want to go buy things in areas where you can't make the rents or the rent can't cover the mortgage. All right, so everybody's, I bought a house. Okay, but how much money are you making? There's a lot of people with a lot of daughters that ain't making no money. They're broke. They might as well just stay at their 9 to 5. So you don't want to be that person. All right, I was that person for a minute. I had so much debt, and I really didn't. And I wasn't doing it right. I was asset rich and cash poor for a long time. All right, so don't be like that. Don't be like that.
How do you identify people to create your team? Because you need a team when you do have a multifamily in order to manage it and run it effectively. So, who do you feel are really good people to have on your team, and how do you get that team together to support you, because you're in Puerto Rico, Florida, New York, sometimes New Orleans, so.
So shout out to my team. We got Jay over here. We got Liliana. Bank is waiting for me with the driver right now. But to build the right team, you want people that are gonna go hard, just like you're gonna go hard. All right. Now, what do I mean by that? You don't want the people. Oh, it's 3 o'clock. I'm out. Right? What do you mean you're out? Like, to be quite honest with you, when you come into the entrepreneur space and you think you're gonna go from 40 hours a week to 10, that's a lie. You're gonna go from 40 hours a week to 80 to 100 hours a week, okay? So when I'm looking for my team, I'm looking for individuals that are ready to grind just as hard as I am and that show up, like the RDs, you know, like Jacqueline here, the individuals that have been doing this for some time and they are ready to deal with the adversity.
You basically optimize your Airbnb.
So that was the first speaker. Great guy. Shout out to Wolf. You did not send that ebook though. You didn't send that ebook. Shout out to Wolf though. But that's true about that. When you working at 9 to 5, you ready to leave at 5. But some people, they like what they do. They be staying overtime, or if they got some problems to solve, they definitely will stay. But when you start doing something on the side that you love and you start to make a little money, you want to grow, you want to elevate, you want to scale that business. So you're going to be thinking about it every day, all day in your sleep. But this is the second speaker. Shout out to her. Let's see what she talking about.
To attract more guests and increase your bookings?
That's a great question. So one of the first things that I do is I get really familiar of the location. So just like Joseph said, your location is going to be really, really important. Now, I don't say that to say that, you know, when you invest in short-term rentals, it has to be a touristy area. It does not have to be a touristy area. But it's important to know who you are trying to attract and who your audience is. One of the first things that I like to do is I literally go right to the platforms. I'll go straight to Airbnb or VRBO, and I want to see what my competition looks like. You know, there are other applications out there for you to use, like airdna.co. It'll literally break down what the nightly rate is in that particular zip code.
She dropping some sites. Get your notepads.
Occupancy rate, the whole thing. Especially for me, I actually just started venturing outside of the state of Florida. I started investing in Tennessee. I got a quadplex out there. Yeah. So I was like, I've never been to Tennessee. Like, you know, I was thinking, yeah, exactly. You know, I was thinking the same thing. Right. So actually, you know, I went straight to the platform, the Airbnb platform, and I wanted to see, you know, what are the nightly rates looking like without me having to pay, right? Because everything, you know,
Right.
a lot of these
Right.
platforms you have to pay. Yeah, you know. But I would say the biggest thing though is getting familiar with your location. Remember, you are the expert, okay? These platforms will make it very easy for you guys to find the attractions and have the information there for you want the guests to want to stay with you, you know? And the biggest thing is your aesthetic, right? Your aesthetic, your amenities. What is it that other people are offering that maybe I can offer, or I could do better? So, yeah.
So one of the reasons why we're talking about Airbnbs is because it's under the umbrella of short-term rentals. And myself as a multifamily owner, I have long-term tenants and short-term rental tenants. I'm not the aficionado, but I do know how to make a buck. So I defer to people that actually have systems in place that help us to be able to manage it properly and produce cash flow. So one of the questions is somebody's looking to purchase a multifamily and they said, you know what, I don't really want long-term tenants. I'd like to have maybe like midterm, which is like 60-day tenants or 90-day tenants, or even short-term rental tenants, you know, for 30 days or less, well, depending on what part of the state you're in. There are different regulations you have to consider. What are the key factors to consider if they're looking for a property with short-term rental business or Airbnb in mind? What do you think they should look for?
Well, definitely, you know, right what you said, like you need to make sure you understand what the rules and regulations are in your area, okay? There are some locations in cities that will require you to have a permit. There's other places where they'll require you to have some type of licensings. And then there's other places where it's kind of, you know, there's a little gray area, you know, you don't necessarily need something. But it is very important for you to be in tune and understand, you know, what you can and what you can't do. It's actually very simple for the most part. I mean, it depends on where you're investing, right? We're all over the place. In New Orleans, they're kind of, pain in the butt. But in Tennessee, for example, literally all I did was went to Google. I went to Google, I searched up the area, what are the regulations for short-term rentals? It's as simple as applying, filling out applications, paying whatever your annual fee is, you find out if you're approved or not, and then, just keep on top of it.
Okay, how do you manage the logistics of, because one of the things that people don't say, they try to make Airbnb sound so easy, so hands-free. It's not really hands-free, and I'm gonna be honest, because I have 3 units that are short-term rentals. I do traveling medical professionals mostly, and it's on Airbnb when I have, I guess, a slowdown in my occupancy rate. But how do you manage the logistics of check-in, cleaning, maintenance, because you have multiple Airbnb properties. Mine are in my multi-family in the same area, so I have a set team already in place. How do you do that? One is in Tennessee, one is in New Orleans, one is in Puerto Rico, one is in Florida.
Yeah, so having
Shorty got some houses. She Airbnb them out and some good places too. Good places that people want to visit. That's nice.
a system is really, really important, and having a solid team, like a team of people that you can count on. The idea when you're investing, at least for me in short term, is not to trade any more time for money, right? And it was something that I had to learn, because when I got started, I was all in it, you know what I mean? Like, I was driving out there, I was cleaning it myself, just trying to save a little bit of money. Yeah, and it can be very, very overwhelming, especially when you have a lot of other things that you have going on, There are a lot of platforms out there that will help you find your team, okay? Sometimes we don't know people, you know what I'm saying? And we're in this type of environment to be surrounded by like-minded people and get to know people, right? But for me, especially with, the property that I have out of state now, and even Joseph, he's not always in Puerto Rico, but there are platforms out there like Thumbtack I found. There's also TaskRabbit. So if you're looking for like a handyman,
is once we do the closing.
Oh man. So my editing is type crazy too. My editing type crazy, but she was definitely dropping some gems, some websites you could use, some systems you could use, you could take advantage of. So good event so far. It was a good event. So far we got cash on cash. And we got Airbnb and some systems to make life easier. Let's keep it going.
And you sign on the transfer documents, the government, all the local municipalities know that you're in charge of the property. So you want to make sure that you are doing things in code. A lot of you guys, when you're buying these properties that you may be making long-term or short-term rentals, they may be advertising saying furnished basement, full basement, and above ground pool, deck. Depending on the municipality in which your property is located in, you may have certain permits or certificate of occupancies that are required. And if you're buying it, it's very important that when you do the closing, your attorney goes over that title report, because the title report will let you know what you have a CO and a permit for and what's an open permit. You don't want to buy a property with an open permit, because once you start making money, you start getting haters. A lot of my clients, regardless if they're buying a property to stay in it or to rent it out, when there are new kids on the block, the neighbors start looking. And
my neighbor's Annie. Annie is horrible.
everybody got an Annie on their block. And so what happened to one of my clients is that the prior neighbors knew the owner, left him alone. He had converted the garage into a room. When my neighbors came, and they weren't really the relative people that would be living in that neighborhood, the town was called on it. And you're like, well, hey, how does the town know that this garage wasn't like legally renovated to be a room? Well,
I'm sorry, they black?
yeah. I'm in Long Island, they were in Islip,
Okay.
Republican area. Yeah. So they got reported on, and they had to end up paying a architect to get the permit for them to legalize it. And they have to do it within a certain amount of time, otherwise the town was going to fine them. Now, the biggest thing is, code enforcement is not like the cops. When they come to your door, you don't have to open it.
There you go.
If you don't open it, they're gonna keep on harassing you. And they'll give you blind violations, which means that, hey, like the cops, right? We're gonna give you this ticket. You need to go to court to fight it. Now, if you don't let court enforcement inside of your house to prove your innocence, and an attorney can verify that, the property was in its legal rights and not in violation of the town's code, then you'll be hit with a fine. So you don't have to open up your door to code enforcement. They are not the cops. But just know that if you want to not pay the violation, you're gonna have to let you're gonna have to let the town do their job and check. Same thing with out here in New York City.
That's crazy. Code enforcement. Yo, let's go to our dictionary. Yo, code enforcement. They probably wouldn't have code enforcement on here. Oh, probably this. Yeah, we don't. Code enforcement. So, if I buy a house, if I buy a house and the garage is the garage, but I turn it into a basement, my neighbor finds out and he could call the law enforcement on me? He could call law enforcement on me. That's crazy.
Who's the only one I heard about HPD? Okay, well, let's say you have an angry tenant. A lot of times, if you're about to evict your tenant, the first thing you're gonna do is put in the HPD violations. One of their
You
favorite
know?
things to put in the HPD violation is when you live in a city, you need to make sure you have a registered agent. If you don't live on your property, if you don't have a family member living on your property, and they put it in. They put in that violation. A lot of times when these people are writing the violations, the clerks at the court, they're not vetting them to see if they're true complaints. They're just taking that little filing fee and making it later come to court. They're gonna send HPD out to your house. Now, you don't have to let them in, but if you don't let them in, once again, they will keep on harassing you, hitting you with heavy fines. Now, this is the issue. You can have all the fines in the world, right? And it's like parking tickets. You keep on collecting them until you get the boot on your car. The boot on your car as a homeowner is when you're ready to sell your property, or when you're ready to get a lien against, or if you're ready to get a loan against your property. They're gonna do a title search, and all of these fines and violations are gonna come. They're gonna rack up. And the money that you think that you're gonna profit off of, the government's profiting off again, in addition to the taxes that they're gonna charge.
So how do we avoid that? Because nobody likes boots. Wants to get fines.
You avoid that by making sure that when you're buying these properties, they're up to code. And if they're not up to code, you need to make sure that you are going to put the investment into it to get it up to code or find a new property.
Can I interject on that? So I have a multifamily that I actually just owned.
Okay. One of the main complaints is during the winter and summer, you can literally Google what degrees your thermostat needs to be in New York State. If you are trying to freeze out your tenants, or if you're trying to be malicious to your tenants because they are bad tenants, do not do it. I'm not saying that because I'm a Christian, I'm saying it because I'm a lawyer. Okay? If you're shown that you're being manipulative in court or to your tenant, it's gonna come out. The biggest thing is, if you don't like them, go through the legal process of evicting them. Now, as landlords, you do have rights. You'll have a lot of tenants who will.
Some of that is just a learning process of understanding.
I do apologize for the editing. I do apologize for the editing. It was dropping a lot of gems. And they getting cut off on the spicy part. But let me know if she dropping gems. If these 3 speakers know what they talking about in the comments, let me know. Should I attend this rooftop event that they having? Let me know. But third girl, you definitely got what? Open print, code enforcement, HPD violations, turning your garage to a basement, being up on code. Okay.
The environment that you're in, making sure that you have a contact there that can get things done. Because as the young lady, I forgot what her name is, as she said, you can't be everywhere. So if you're gonna have properties in different areas, you need somebody there that, hey, there's a flood. Can you go up there and take a look? Or can I send somebody? You know, so whether it's a person that's close to you or someone that's a trusted contractor or something, you need somebody. And what was the second part of the question?
How do you account for if this was a slower season, like, you know, when it's not as many tourists and things coming up? Because for people, we're encouraging people to buy, right?
Right.
So if they buy, there's some, if you're doing short-term rentals, there's some points in time in the
Oh,
year
this guy right
you
here.
get more traffic, more
Oh, that
occupancy,
move.
higher occupancy than other times in the year.
Oh, he
like,
kept putting
maybe
his head in
what you
front of the
think of that
table.
might be a good tip for them during the times that it's not as many people looking to sell.
So that's a great point. And I mean, fortunately for us, we don't really have to reinvent the wheel on that. Like hotels and those things have been doing that for years. So you can actually just research the people around the area and find out what they do and do what they do, right? Because I'm not
When you in Rome, you do what the Romans do.
an expert in Jamaica, but you know who's an expert? You know who's puts millions of dollars into Jamaican tourism? Hotels,
Yes.
right? So reach out to other hotels, other villas, other Airbnbs. If it's a rental, go look and see what the other people in the area are doing and do what they do, right? Don't reinvent the wheel. You don't need to do that. Figure out what other people are doing and do that. And like I said, understand the culture of the market, make sure you have people on the ground, because those things are important. I've seen a lot of deals go to crap because you bought, you know, it's cool to buy something, but make sure that once you buy it, you can manage it and you can handle it.
How did you acquire your property? I know in the Caribbean, it's more so you have to build and purchase the land. So did you purchase the whole property or did you purchase the land and you got the villa built?
No, the villa was there already. I know people who bought and built,
Okay.
but again, that's a whole different aspect. This one kind of fell in my lap. Again, and people will talk more about that. Like, how do you?
That's another thing. When she asked that question right there, he didn't want to give direct answers. We needed direct answers on. That's one thing that got me tight. We needed direct answers. All the stuff you saying doesn't matter. She asked a question. Take your time to break down that question.
My property, there was a problem with it. Usually when you buy properties, it's because there was a problem in some. So I always tell people, if you want to be a good investor, get good at solving problems, right? You want to make a lot of money, it doesn't even have to be in real estate. Get good at solving problems. Because somebody has a problem, if you can come in and solve it, you can make a lot of money. There's usually a spread there somewhere. So there was an issue with the property. They said that it was encroaching on another property. So the deal that they had fell through, the people were getting a divorce. Another aspect, divorces, retirement, someone died, it was all, I hate to say it, it was a great waste of time. properties. But in this particular case, it was already built out. They weren't renting it though. So it was something that they were just using for their own personal use. And truthfully, it's not even a big vacation area, but it's on the beach. And Jamaica on the beach has value no matter where it is. So we actually kind of had to build up the name a little bit just so people know, because people aren't usually used to traveling there to vacation. But as we start to get reviews and as the names build up and as, you know, we deal with a lot of locals as well. So again, we've noticed there's a difference between renting to locals and renting to foreigners. So all this is just researching your market. And just know, like, you have to put research, you have to put time into all of these things. And then I was saying, as a multifamily, I'm used to, you put somebody in the apartment and, you know, if there's not a problem, I don't want to hear from you. But it's not like that with Airbnb. You are in the hospitality business. People will reach out to you. They will be connected. If there's a problem, they're going to call you. They're going to. So you have to understand you're now in hospitality. You're selling the area. You're selling excursions. You're selling experiences, which is different from renting a long-term where you're just like, look, here's your apartment. Don't call me again until you're ready to lease or if something is broken. So
That answered, and then some. Thank you, Rose.
So I do short-term rentals, commonly known.
Shout out to that guy. He had a villa, or he had a condo on the beach in Jamaica. You know, that's his summertime vibe right there. That was a good investment right there. And he said he had a brownstone in Harlem.
As Airbnb.
This guy right here, he came late, but shout out to him. I asked him a question. He gave me some answers. When the show was over, we got to meet everyone, and this was one of the guys I met. Great dude.
You might have heard of it. But you can leverage this strategy to maximize the profit of your multifamily asset, right? So we talk about traditional long-term rents on the Airbnb short-term rental side. You definitely can make more. Now, it's not completely passive, but you can make it passive. That's some of the systems and processes that RB was talking about. So something that, does everybody have their notepads up? So I might just like fire, and I want people to catch this, right? So, so one of the major things that, you know, allows me to operate my business the way I do is like automation and kind of can buy my time. I didn't want to fire my W-2, start a business, and now I'm handcuffed to another job.
How long did it take for you to fire your W-2?
It took me 104 days.
I'm sorry?
104 days. 6 years of operations. I did a few things. Yeah, I did a few things. One of the major things is smart messaging, automated messaging. So I use a software called Hospitable, but also in the Airbnb platform, we have the capabilities of sending messages out when certain events happen, right? So think of a trigger like a new inquiry comes in or a new booking comes in. You can send out check-in instructions automatically. You know, we send it out 2 times because people don't read. 3 days before and the day before check-in, outlining everything. If somebody asks about parking, you know, we have rules in the software applications as well to, you know, answer questions about parking specific to the property, which is pretty cool. So if you're out having dinner, you know, you don't want to, I have a message, I have to respond about parking because everyone asks about parking. That happens automatically. So we kind of like remove ourselves out of that situation where we're not constantly glued to our phone. Of course, we have to keep posts on what's going on, but that'll definitely allow you to free up some of your time. Another thing that I like is dynamic pricing. So a lot of people, when they get into the Airbnb industry, they just use the same rate every day of the week, including the weekends. The season doesn't matter. And we find that like most people don't make it in that, you know, in that industry because they're not glued into, hey, what's going on in the area? Is an event going on? Is there a conference? An actual concert, right? Sports events, as well as staying tuned into what the market is actually charging. So something I like to do is call the hotels and ask them, how much would it cost for me to stay here for 2 months? Right, I do that for all seasons. So I'm in DC, so I'm particularly interested in the summer months and the winter months, right? So I want to make sure that I can either make money or break even during the slow season, quote unquote slow season. We can talk about that too. So for us, it'll be the winter months, right? And then where we're going to make our money or really make money will be on the summertime. So our rates will be drastically different, but you have to stay in tune with the market. And we leverage Price Labs to kind of, analyze the market. We put our own rule sets on top to, further upsell or actually increase our rates depending on what platform you are actually on.
Great interview. I said great interview. Great event. Great event. I met some wonderful, intelligent people at that event. I took some numbers down. Like I said, I got 2 interviews. I'm gonna post one as a short with my guy right here. Definitely post that short a little later. But this is a great interview. Let me know if y'all got some gems. Did y'all have your notepad out? Did y'all write some things down? Did this get y'all motivated or even inspired to think about getting your first house, first multi-family house, turning it into Airbnb, renting it out, short term, long term, and we got some laws in place as well, so we won't get caught up into what coal enforcement. Coal enforcement knocks on our door. Another thing we got. Yeah, they definitely looked out. Home buying process, 7 steps. Check your credit score. It's the first step. Second step, choose a lender. Third step, find a realtor agent. Fourth step, make a final walkthrough. Get home appraisal and inspection. That's the 6th one. Home appraisal and inspection. Last one, search for homes. Wait, but then it say, hold on. We went backwards. Number 1, check for credit score. 2, choose a lender. 3, find a real estate agent. 4, search for home. 5, get home appraisal and inspection. 6, make a final walkthrough. 7, choose your new home. Let's see how this look. Shout out to RB the Realtor. Shout out to Chase. Amazing event. I'm gonna definitely try to get to that rooftop event next month in August. I met some guys we can make some moves with. Some beautiful females that could help me do some software and marketing. Yeah. But let me know in the comments, was they dropping some gems? Did anybody learn anything from this? But that's all I have for today. Today's Sunday was calm. Just came back from the cookout. Had a cookout on my block. Family event, only a fam here. That type of event. So, Sunday, it's kind of cool, kind of chill. Tuesday, we got cool boy Steph fighting, but we don't get to that. This was just a educational side. I give a lot of entertainment, but like I said, during the long run, during this journey, we don't get a lot of information into this. But like I said, shout out to Chase, shout out to RB the Realtor. Like, comment, subscribe, and drop in the comments about what y'all think.